Hi YouTube, Tim Unkert from UnkertEducation.com here. In this video, we're going to make a simple blog template, uh, and I'm going to show you what that is. So it's going to look something like this. So we have links to home, about, and contact. We have a blog post. You notice there's some hover effects we have going on here. Each little post, there's three dots here. It's a separator. And then we have a nice little centered footer, and we have this nice little sidebar with the author, and again, some hover effects as you go over the links and the images. So let's get started. So open up a text editor or IDE. I'm going to use Rapid CSS for this. And what I'm going to do is, let's see, I want to make sure that we have auto expanding the tab for Emmet because we're going to use some Emmet here. And I'm going to hit the exclamation point and hit tab. And that's going to create my general framework here. And we'll call this home of your blog. All right. And then up here, I'm going to do a meta :VP and hit tab to get the meta viewport. And I'm going to take out some of this stuff, take out that, and just all of this so that the user can resize it if they want. Okay, you can also put in a description tag if you want, but I don't think we need that for right now. I'm going to give the body a class of app, and we're going to use classes here. And this is, let's see, if we search this up, the naming structure I'm going to use here, we search up BEM CSS. So we have BEM here, which is a naming methodology. So we're going to name it according to that. Okay. So if you're wondering where I'm getting my names from, that's where. Okay. All right. So we're going to create a header with a class of header. Inside of the header, we're going to create a nav with class of header _nav. And then within the nav, we'll create an unordered list with the class of header _UL for unordered list. And then within that, we'll create, let's do 3 list items. And we want to do the list items with the class of header _list item. And we're going to do 3 of those. And then inside of that, we'll have anchor tags with the class of header _link. Okay. I'm going to hit tab to auto expand that and get that code. Okay, each of these won't go anywhere right now. We're just doing the HTML and CSS. So we're going to have home, about, and contact here. Okay, and then below that, we're going to create a content container. So we're going to create a div with a class of content container. And then within that, we'll have a main with the class of main. Okay. Each of these mains is going to have an article with the class of main article. So we'll do article with the class of main _double_ article. And then within that, we'll have H2s with the class of main __ heading. Okay. All right. So this will be some heading. I'm just going to type lorem ipsum here. Get some dummy text. Under that, we'll do a paragraph with the class of main __ paragraph. And we'll do 100 words. So let's do lorem 100, hit tab to get that stuff. Under the article, we'll do an HR tag. So the horizontal line with the class of main __ separator. Okay. And so we'll create that. And now we'll just copy this a couple times. So we'll do a few of these. Okay. And the last main separator we really don't need. Okay, below the main, we'll do an aside with the class of sidebar. And then we'll do a section with the class of sidebar section. In that, we'll do an H3 with the class of sidebar double underscore heading. And again, we'll do about for this one. And then we'll do a paragraph with class of sidebar double underscore paragraph. And in that, we'll do maybe like 50 words here. Okay. Under that, we'll do another section with a class of sidebar double underscore section. Okay. And we'll do another H3. We want to give that one a class of sidebar double underscore heading. And for this, let's do latest articles or archives. Let's do archives. Archives, and then we'll do unordered list here with the class of sidebar double underscore list. Okay, and then each of these will have links with the class of, or list items with the class of sidebar uh, list item. And we'll do, let's do 5 of those. Inside of that, we'll have anchor tags with the class of sidebar link. And so we'll expand that out. Each of these won't go anywhere. And we'll just have article. Let me do this. So let me record a macro here. So let's do article, and then we'll go down to here, and we'll stop the macro, and then just run it again because I'm lazy. All right, cool. All right, so those are all articles there. Outside of the content creator, content container, we'll create a footer with the class of footer. And inside of that, we'll have a paragraph with the class of footer double underscore paragraph. And we'll say something like copyright, copyright symbol 2023, Tim Unkert, all rights reserved. Okay, and then let's see, we'll expand that out. Okay, cool. All right, so we've got the markup pretty much done. Let's now save this. And so this is going to be our, let's call this our index.html page. Okay. And let's view the file explorer over here. So we have this blog template dash YT for YouTube. And then we have the index. Now we want to create a new style sheet. Okay. And I want to save this as style.css. Okay, so now we've got the style.css, and let's link it here so we can start to see. Okay, so we'll link in, jumped a little bit, and then we'll link in our style.css. Okay, cool. All right, now if we preview this, so if we do a vertical split, this is what it looks like right now, which is not that great looking. So let's change it about. First thing I want to do is import a Google font. Okay, let's do that. So I'm going to bring this up here and we'll just search for fonts Google and go here. And I want to just search for Poppins. Okay, so click on Poppins. I think I have some, yeah, so I want to get rid of these. Get rid of the previous selected ones, and I'm going to choose regular 400 and then also 700, and I'll expand this out here, and I'm going to import it into the style sheet here. So we're just going to copy this and then go back to here and just paste that in. Okay. And now we'll do a CSS reset here, just a small one. So what we're going to do is do the asterisk, select everything, and we'll do border box. And we'll do, oh, sorry, we'll do box sizing. we can do box sizing and then border box. Okay. So box sizing, border box, that means that it's like when it's sized up. If you have something that's supposed to be 600 pixels wide, but then you add padding to it, it could change the size. But with border box or box sizing border box, it'll stay 600 pixels. So we want to keep that. And we're also going to zero out all the margins and zero out all the padding. I'm going to save that. We'll go back to here and do a preview. And we see we zeroed everything out. So no margins, no padding. Okay. Um, all right, so the next thing we look here, we have the body class is app. So let's focus on that class. So we'll do app. And what I want to do is change the background color ever so slightly. So I'm going to do background color. And the background color I want is going to be FFFFFA. It's ever so slightly changed. And then we're going to do a font family of Poppins with a backup font of sans serif. Okay, and then we're going to do a font weight of normal, okay, for our default. All right. Next thing we want to focus on is the header styles. All right, so we're going to do a header here, and I want a linear gradient, so I'm going to do a background color, and I'm going to do linear gradient, and I'm going to say to right, and then the colors I'm going to use are 59A 7D1, and that's going to be on the left, and go to 7EC3CC on the right. Okay, so it's going to lighten up as we go right. And I'm going to give it some padding to the header. So I'm going to do 15 pixels on the top and bottom and 5 pixels on the left and right. All right, so if we save this and go here, we see the padding has taken effect. But have we messed up with the linear gradient? I'll just do background here. Okay, there we go. Okay, so yeah, just background, not background color. All right, so that's good. But I want this to, if we're looking at this one, we spread this across the entire way. And let me go back to just the regular preview. So we want to spread these out. Okay. So we have to focus now on the unordered list in the header. So I'm going to do header, double underscore unordered list. We'll do a display of flex, and we'll do justify content, and we're going to do space around. Okay. So now let's go back to here, and now we see we get some space around, so they're now spread out like that. And that's nice and easy to do with flex. Okay. Next thing we're going to focus on is getting rid of this bullet point up here. So to do that, we're going to target the header list item. All right. So there, I'll say that the list style is going to be, if we go down, none. Okay. Right, so list style is none. If we go back here, we now see the list style goes away. Pretty sweet. Next thing I want to target is the color of the links here, and then what happens to the links as you hover over them. Okay, so let's go to header, and we'll do double underscore link, and we'll first change the color. So the color, gonna make the color white. Okay, we'll do the font weight 700, so bold. Um, then we'll do the text decoration of none. So get rid of the underline. And we're going to do a different effect when you hover and focus on these. So in the hover and focus states. So I want to be able to transition to that and not have that instantly happen. So I'm going to say all, and it's going to take 0.4 seconds. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do the header underscore link during the hover and the header underscore link during the focus. Okay, and before I do that, let's actually save this and just take a look now at the header links. So it's going to take a moment to change. And there we go. They're white and they're bold like that. Okay, which is matching what we want here. Okay, so now I want to change the effect when we hover over them. So I'm going to decrease the opacity a little bit. So the opacity, when it's you fully see it, it's 1. When it's fully transparent, it's 0. I'm going to put it at 70%, so 0.7. Okay, let's save that. Okay, and now when you hover, you see it slowly changes the opacity as you hover or as you focus on these. Okay, let's go to the content container. So right now we have the content and then the sidebar right on top of each other. So let's do the content container style. And what we're going to do here is we're going to say content container, and we're going to have a display of flex, and we'll justify the content to space between. And then we're going to do the margin 50 pixels on top and bottom and 0 and left and right. Okay, and then we'll go down here to our main styles. And we'll change the main to have a padding of 0, top and bottom 15 pixels left and right, and then a flex of 3. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at what we have now. All right, so now we have the about too large. So we have to change the sidebar style so that we have, I'm going to change the sidebar to 1. Okay, so let's actually start with the sidebar styles. So we'll do sidebar styles, and we'll switch the sidebar to have a padding of 0 and 15 pixels and a flex 1. Okay. All right. And there we go. Now we lined up the main and the about. Okay. All right. Next up, we're going to do this. Let's do some of the more of the main stuff now that we got it lined up. So I want to go up here and I want to focus on the main article. Okay. And the main article, I'm going to say has a margin on the top and bottom of 15 pixels and left and right 0. Okay. So if we do that, all right, now it spaces out the articles a little bit. Okay. So that's starting to get there. Okay. Next thing I want to do is the main image. And well, let's leave that blank because we don't have a main image yet. I'm going to put that in. Um, let's do the main headings. So we'll do main double underscore heading. Okay, and for that, we'll do color of RGBA 0, 0, 0, and then 0.8. So give it like not fully black because you have a little bit of transparency there. We're going to do a font size of 17 pixels. We're going to do letter spacing of 2.5 pixels. And we're going to do a margin top of 7 pixels. And then we're going to make all the text uppercase. So we're going to do text transform to uppercase. Okay. All right. Now let's take a look at that once we change the main heading. So the main heading smaller, capitalized, and spaced out the lettering a little bit. Um, let's focus on the main paragraph. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to say main double underscore paragraph. And we'll do a line height of 1.8 and a color of 0, 0, 0, 0.8. So to match the heading, okay? All right, and we'll see if you can see that. So we spaced out, you can see the spacing, and it's a little bit not as dark as over in the sidebar. We're gonna go to the sidebar in a minute. Remember, we're trying to get to this, okay? It's a nice little blog output or template. I can't talk. All right, so let's go back to the style now, and let's focus on the separator. I'm going to go below the paragraph here, and I'm going to do main double underscore separator. Okay, and there we'll have, we're going to do border bottom of 0, border left, scroll up here a little bit, of 0, border right of 0, and border top, we'll do RGBA 0, 0, 0, 0.2. We're going to have very transparent. We'll make it dotted, and we'll make it 8 pixels. We're going to do a display of block, where we can center it a little bit easier. We'll do a height. Well, we might not need that actually. Height of 8 pixels. We'll do a margin of 10 pixels auto, and we'll do a width of 30 pixels. Okay, so let's do that. Now, if we go back here, man, this takes a moment to update, but now we've got our 3 dots, right? So that's what I found works for this. So getting rid of the borders except for the top, making the top border dotted 8 pixels and semi-transparent, and then making the height of the separator 8 pixels, and then um, the margin 10 pixels top and bottom, and then automatically sized for left and right, and then the width 30 pixels will give you those 3 nice little dots there. Okay, which looks kind of cool. All right, so let's go now and focus on the sidebar here. So next thing I want to focus on is the sidebar section. Okay, and we're going to do a margin of 15 pixels and 0 for the top and bottom. Okay, and so I'm looking at my notes here. I've taken notes on what I wrote last night when I did this all out, because inevitably when you're doing a video, if you're looking at your notes, you're going to mess up. I'll probably mess up anyways, but whatever. Anyways, continuing on. So I'm going to do a sidebar heading, and that color is going to be the same as the other color. So we're going to do RGBA 0, 0, 0. So that's black, but then 0.8 gives it that slightly transparent, so it changes the color slightly. And then we're going to do a font size slightly smaller for that, of 15 pixels. We'll do letter spacing of 2 pixels, and we'll do text transform uppercase. So everything's in uppercase there. The sidebar. All right. Okay, so that changes now. Okay, let's do the sidebar heading and paragraph. Well, we did the heading. Did the heading. Let's do the paragraph. So let's go down here. We'll do sidebar double underscore paragraph. And for there, we'll do a line height of 1.8, just like we did with the main, and then the color, just like all the headings and in the main, 0, 0, 0, 0.8. Okay. do that and see how it looks. And now it's spaced out a little bit better. Okay, so now we want to focus on the list item and changing these a little bit. Okay, and then we'll add in some images. So let's go to our sidebar list item, and we'll make the list style of none, and we'll do a line height of 1.8. So we're getting the same line height as paragraphs and everything else. Okay, now we'll focus on the actual link. Actually, let's save this and let's just take a look at that change. So we space them out and we get rid of the bullets there. So now it's not a bulleted list anymore, but we have to get rid of we have to change the link a little bit just to change the color. I'm going to leave it underlined in the sidebar. So we're going to go here. We'll do sidebar double underscore link, and we'll just say that a transition to all 0.4 seconds. So when you change it, we're going to change the opacity of it in a moment. So we'll go down here, we'll do sidebar double underscore link in both the hover and then the sidebar underscore link in the focus state. We'll change the opacity of that to 0.7, so 70%. Save it. Okay. And there we go. Cool. All right, so we've got this kind of like hover effect when we go over our links, which is kind of cool. Or when we focus, when we use the tab to focus it. I might want to change it a bit more for accessibility reasons. But for right now, it's a good start. Okay, this is a start to a blog template. Hopefully it'll give you some ideas. All right, so let me take a look here. And I think, yeah, next up, we probably want to do the footer, and then we'll add some images. Okay, so let's go down here, and let's do footer styles. Okay, so we're going to do dot footer, and then what we'll do here, let me just get some space here. Yeah, do dot footer, and we'll do a background with a linear gradient, just like we did in the header. So we're going to match it. So linear gradient to right, colors 59A7D1 on the left, and it is going to go to 7FC3CC on the right. We're going to have a display of flex for that, and we're going to justify the content to the center, and we'll also do a padding on the top and the bottom of 15 pixels and 5 pixels on the left and right. Okay, if we do that, we now have this here in the center. The color isn't quite what we want though. Okay, so to do that, let's target the footer paragraph. So we'll do footer double underscore paragraph. And here we'll do a color of white, and we'll do a font weight of normal. Okay. And I'm just being explicit about this stuff. So it's going to take a moment for the preview here to change. And there we go. Cool. So we've got our footer nice and done. So let's now add some images. So I'm going to go here and let's go to open up a tab and go to Pexels and go to pexels.com here. I'm going to search for universe because that's where I found that photo before. This one, I'm going to select this one. We're going to go to small, download the selected size. And let's go now to my downloads folder. So I'm going to downloads. I'm going to rename this. Go to show more options, rename. We'll call this universe. Okay, then I'm going to cut it and go to this blog template here. And I'm going to paste it in a new folder. And I'm going to call this folder images, paste it in here. Okay, so we got the universe in here. So we want now, in my CSS, I want the image above the heading. Okay. Um, all right. And possibly we should have an H1 here with a class of main heading. And yeah, that kind of jumps oddly there. We'll say something like latest articles. Okay. And then, all right, first article here, we're going to have a figure with the class of main underscore figure. Inside of that, we'll have an image with the class of main double underscore image. Okay. All right. So let's get one of these and I'm going to duplicate it. All right. So the image source here. So let's choose the image. So we'll go to their images and we'll select this one. And alternative text, we can say a picture of the universe. Okay, so let's copy this. And we'll place this here and here. Okay, so now we've got that. Let's save it and let's just preview. Okay, so now it's kind of big. It's kind of slamming it down there. So we want to take care of that. All right, so let's go back to our CSS here. We'll go up to our main section here. And we have this place for our main image. Okay, so we'll take a look. So here, I rounded the corners a little bit. So I did a border radius of 7 pixels. The width, I made 100% of the main. The height, I made 300 pixels. Now, if I just do this, let me show you what happens. So if I just do this, it kind of distorts the picture and it doesn't look so good, right? So what I've got to do here is I've got to do object fit and then cover. If I do that, go here and wait for it to change. There we go. So now it's a little bit better, right? I also don't want it full opacity to start. So I'm going to do opacity of 0.8 and I'm going to do a transition all 0.4 seconds just to be consistent with everything else. And then I'm going to do a hover state. So below this, I'm going to go down and do a hover state. So we'll do the hover state and we'll do the opacity 1. Okay. All right. So it's going to go from being slightly transparent to when you hover over it, it's going to be not transparent at all. So if we go there, that changes over 0.4 seconds. So a little less than half of a second gives that nice effect as you hover over it. I think that's pretty cool. Okay. All right. So, all right, I think we need to add the sidebar image. Let's go back to our code here, go down to the sidebar. And you can leave little notes for yourself, little comments too, if you want to do a comment. Sidebar starts here. Good to always comment your code. So just keep that in mind if you're watching this video. All right, so we're going to add right under the about, we'll add an image. So let's go do that. So we'll do a figure with a class of sidebar double underscore figure. And inside of that, we'll have an image with a class of sidebar double underscore image. Okay, and get that like that. And now we have to go get an image. So let's go back to Pexels here, close out this. And instead of searching for universe, we'll search for a gentleman. Right. And which picture did I use? Oh, this guy. All right, so we'll go here. We'll get the small one, download the selected size. There we go. I'm going to go to pick resize. Could use something like GIMP too, or Photoshop, whatever. I'm going to take this one and just crop it a little bit. So let's continue to edit picture here. We'll start to crop. Something like that. Crop our selection. Keep it 50% the normal size. We'll save the disk. Notice I brought it down to 10 kilobytes. That's pretty good. All right, so let's go back to our downloads here. I'm going to rename this. Call it Gentleman. I'm going to cut it, go to the desktop, go to the blog template, YouTube, images, and paste it in with Control V. Okay, so now I'll go back to my code editor here, and I want to make sure I get the right image. My IDE allows me to quickly select the image like that, so we're going to select the gentleman, but you want to make sure you get this right. Alternative text, we could say a picture of a gentleman, something like that. Okay, so now if we go and we just preview this, it doesn't look that bad, but I want to get that circular picture that we had there. So let's take a look at what we want to do. All right, so I'm going to target the figure here. So let's go back here. Oh, I want to go to that. Actually, let me close out some of these because this runs up with a lot of ads in the background. Okay, so if I go here, if I go to the sidebar and go to right under the heading, so I'll do sidebar figure, and in the figure, I'm going to have a display of flex. I'm going to justify the content to the start because I don't want to center it. It didn't look that good when I centered it. I'm going to align the items to the center, and I'm going to give it a margin on the top and bottom of 10 pixels and 0 to the left and right. Okay, so now if we go here, we wait a second, preview, it just spaces it out a little bit. You see it's still over here. Let's go to the image. So we'll do sidebar image. And I want to make this a circle. So I'm going to do a border radius of 50%. Okay. And if I go and check it now, it's close to a circle, but we got to make sure the height and the width are exactly the same. So I'm going to do a height of 100 pixels, a width of 100 pixels, and then I also want to do the object fit so it doesn't stretch the image. So I'm going to do object fit cover. And so let's take a look at it now. Okay, so it makes the image a little smaller and the proportions are all good and fits it right, nice and good. Last thing I want to do is for the image is to lower the opacity just a little bit so it's not fully there, it's a little bit transparent. And then we're going to transition everything. So we'll do transition all 0.4 seconds. And then we're going to do the hover state. All right, so we'll do sidebar double underscore image colon hover. And we're going to do an opacity of 1. Okay. All right, so wait till that updates. There we go. You see it's a little bit transparent. And if I hover over it, when you hover over it, it gives that a little sharper look, which I think is pretty cool. Okay, last thing to do is when I start to make this smaller, it gets a little cramped, and I found it was getting a little cramped at about 780 pixels. So I just want to do media query. Okay, so we'll do media queries, and I'm going to say at media, and I found a width that I wanted to change was about 780 pixels. So at 780 pixels, what I want to do is I want to make the content container, I'm going to switch it from flex to block, and that's going to put stack the main and the sidebar on top of each other. I'm going to display block here. View, see here, tools, preview in. Let's go to Chrome. And that's previewing my style sheet. So yeah. Uh, let's go back here. Tools, preview in Chrome. Okay, so now this is what we've built. And you'll see when you get smaller, it stacks fairly nicely there. So it's stacking as it gets smaller. We go just to responsive here. And let's go up to 790 pixels here. We see it's not stacked, but then as we go down, it stacks at 780. Okay, so that's, I think, a great start for our blog. A nice little landing page for a blog. Hopefully it'll give you an idea. You can obviously expand on this, maybe make the something you want to do for a commercial site is make a little bit more accessible links. That's important nowadays. But just for a start, this gives you an idea of how you can start building your blog. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.